Skill acquisition. Prompt hierarchies. Understanding the prompt hierarchy is the key to effective use of prompts to teach new skills. A prompting hierarchy is a systematic method of assisting clients in the learning and skill acquisition process. The hierarchy lays out a planned sequence of prompts in order of intrusiveness. Prompts should only be used as a support to clients when necessary and only for as long as they are needed, and always with a plan in place for phasing out all levels of prompts. There are two prompt hierarchies used in ABA therapy: most to least intrusive and least to most intrusive. Most to least intrusive prompting is known as errorless teaching. Errorless teaching is a learning procedure in which the child is prompted to make the correct response immediately, ensuring a correct response each time. When using errorless teaching, the technician should start with the least intrusive prompt required to ensure a correct response. The prompt's intrusiveness is gradually decreased as the client becomes more successful. If a client is being taught to clap and they have no previous exposure to clapping, a full physical prompt will be used to initiate the activity. The technician gauges the child's ability to clap without the full physical prompt, and when they feel it is likely that they can succeed with a less intrusive prompt, they attempt a partial physical prompt. If the client is successful, the full physical prompt is replaced with the partial physical. However, if after being given 3 opportunities with a partial physical, the client still fails to perform the action, the full physical prompt will be reintroduced. When using errorless teaching, it is important to lower prompt levels as soon as possible. It is better to try a lower prompt level, fail, and have to reinstate the more intrusive prompt than to continue the more intrusive prompt for too long. Using a more intrusive prompt beyond the time when it is necessary can cause prompt dependence. Prompt dependence is when a client requires a prompt, even though they possess the ability to respond with less assistance or no help at all. This phenomenon is sometimes referred to as learned helplessness, because it is developed when a client is provided an intrusive prompt for longer than they need it to succeed. Errorless teaching is a preferred method because it reduces the frustration associated with continuously making mistakes. Errorless teaching should be used when a client has deficits in the skill area being taught or the target behavior is completely unfamiliar to them. Prompts are provided before the client can make a mistake. Therefore, the desired response is almost always emitted and reinforced. Think about starting a new job. If your supervisor leaves you to your own devices and only interacts with you when you have made mistakes, it can be frustrating. On the other hand, a supervisor using errorless teaching would intervene by completing your duties as you sat close by and observed. After the instruction, they may sit with you as you performed those duties, helping when necessary. As you gained confidence, they would let you perform the tasks while providing systematic check-ins to make sure you were successful. Finally, when they recognize that you have the required skills to succeed, they will return to their typical supervisor role. In the latter case, you are more likely to succeed and feel satisfied with your learning. This is the exact goal of errorless teaching as outlined in the following. 1. Begin with the least intrusive prompt necessary for success. 2. Prevent exposure to errors whenever possible. 3. Provide repeated exposure to success and reinforcement. 4. Remove prompts systematically. The second prompt hierarchy used by applied behavior analysis professionals is least to most intrusive, or trial and error teaching. Trial and error teaching is providing an instruction and allowing the client to respond. When the response is incorrect, prompts are implemented, beginning with the least intrusive and moving towards the most. Trial and error teaching is best suited for the client's areas of strength and maintenance of previously mastered targets. if trial and error was being used to teach a client to clap, the technician would simply present the SD, clap hands, and wait for a response. If the client errors, use the least intrusive prompt that makes sense for the target behavior, in this case, modeling. The technician now says, clap hands, and simultaneously claps. If the error recurs, a prompt one level more intrusive is used, in this case, partial physical. The technician again gives the instruction and this time nudges the client's hands toward each other. If the error happens once more, the most intrusive, full physical prompt would be used. Typically, a maximum of 3 prompts is used in one instance. The teaching method that the behavior analyst instructs you to use will determine whether you should start at the top, the least intrusive, or the bottom, the most intrusive of the hierarchy. The goal, regardless of method, is always the client being able to exhibit the skill independently or from a natural cue. Every level of prompt hierarchy will not always be used. The behavior technician and the BCBA will make decisions about which prompts should be used to teach a skill. The most commonly used prompts include full physical, partial physical, model, and verbal prompts, so focus on mastering those first.